there is one game we all play, and that game is called real life. Not everyone is good at it, but some of us are. Real life is an open world game with endless possibilities. And after all, only the uncultured spend their day-to-day life in just one country. So join me in my life of leisure as I explore the best games for the handheld around the world. In today's episode, I find myself in Chicago, a place full of oversized buildings, oversized pizzas, and oversized people. Ugh. Seeing all these large buildings got me thinking about things associated with them, like the amount of bloody scaffolding it would have taken to build them. So, I thought it would fit today's occasion perfectly to look at Donkey Kong. Yeah! Everyone remembers the first Donkey Kong game and the Donkey Kong Country series, but an often overlooked, but in my opinion very decent game, was the Donkey Kong released for the Game Boy in 1994. This game may simply be named Donkey Kong, but I can assure you it is a completely different game to the simple arcade game released back in 1981. Anyway, giving two completely different games exactly the same name is very annoying in my opinion, and now when I talk about this game, I have to refer to it as the Donkey Kong game from 1994, as it has kind of faded into obscurity a little bit more than the original. I predict the same thing will happen to that terrible Ghostbusters film they released the other month. It came out last month and most people have already started referring to it as the female Ghostbusters. Unlike the 2016 Ghostbusters film, however, the big difference is the Donkey Kong game released in 1994 was actually good, and in my opinion deserved its own name for differentiation purposes. The 1994 version of Donkey Kong is loosely based on the 1981 arcade game of the same name, and also shares some of the same mechanics with the game's sequel, Donkey Kong Jr. Ironically, before the game was released, the working title was in fact Donkey Kong 94, which I personally do not get why they didn't just stick with. The game starts off and shares similarities to the original, as the player takes control of Mario and must once again rescue his girlfriend Pauline from Donkey Kong. Hold on a second, bloody Pauline? She has certainly been absent a few years since Princess Peach has been around. I wonder whatever happened to her. I guessed it must be the same scenario as most celebrities that disappear. She is now either dead or on the crack. I hope it's the latter scenario. Donkey Kong Jr. in the game also makes a guest appearance in some of the game's levels, helping his father hinder Mario's progress. For those who are unaware, Donkey Kong Jr. grew up to become Donkey Kong of today, and the original Donkey Kong grew old and became Cranky Kong. So chronologically, this game must be set before both the Super Mario series and the Donkey Kong Country series. An interesting footnote about this game is this was also the first Game Boy title designed with enhanced features when played on the Super Game Boy. If you played this game on the SNES, you could play this game in full colour rather than the usual monochromatic colours you get with the original Game Boy games. Donkey Kong actually begins with the original 4 levels found in the arcade game from 1981. All of in which Mario must reach the top of the level and save Pauline. After you complete these 4 stages, the game doesn't end like the original. Instead, this is only the beginning of your adventure. When you finish the 4th stage, Donkey Kong revives, grabs Pauline again, and takes off with her, with Mario giving chase. The player is then presented with a whopping 97 additional stages spanning 9 different worlds. So you must slug your way through these 101 levels in order to try and defeat Donkey Kong. The levels in which you play after the initial 4 have completely different gameplay mechanics. Instead of just climbing a scaffolding structure, Mario must go through each level and locate a key, pick it up and carry it to a locked door elsewhere in the stage in order to complete each one. Further to this, there are also battle levels, in which the player must either try and reach Pauline, like in the original levels, or defeat Donkey Kong by using his own barrels against him. After these levels are cleared, short cutscenes are shown depicting players' abilities that may be needed for upcoming levels. These include introducing things such as new kinds of traps that can kill you. Throughout the game, extra lives can also be earned via minigames or unlocked by collecting the free special items in each level. Some more of the enhancements from the original game include Mario now being able to survive falls from great heights, however he will still lose some life. This new ability to take more than one hit will allow Mario to survive but lose life if he hits enemies or obstacles. Also, similarly to that of Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario is now also able to pick up and throw items or certain enemies, an ability which he will also need to use to carry the key over to the door. The player has to also make sure not to leave the key laying around anywhere, as if the key is left alone for a certain amount of time, it will return to its original place. Another new ability is that Mario can now flip over onto his head, which allows him to catch falling barrels and can also perform higher jumps by timing his jumps from flipping, or by performing a jump whilst changing direction. The classic mallet item is also back and can now be thrown upwards and can be used again if Mario catches it, allowing him to bring it to different parts of the stage. There are also several blocks that allow the player to add bridges, ladders and springs anywhere on the screen for a short amount of time. Other abilities Mario can perform include swimming, climbing ropes in a similar fashion to Donkey Kong Jr. and spinning on wires to reach new heights. So, along with all these new mechanics, a bloody cornucopia of stages, fantastic controls and great music, Donkey Kong, released in 1994, is far more than just a portable tribute to the original. The game is bloody Donkey Kong on steroids and is over 20 times the length of the original entry in the series. You will get hours upon hours of fresh gameplay from this one, and in my opinion, this is one of the best games in the entire Game Boy library. If you want to play this game today, you can simply download it to the 3DS eShop. However, this version is all in black and white. If you pick up a cheap original cartridge and play the game in the Super Game Boy on the SNES, you can get a full colour experience with this one. So that is the top way to play. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you find some time to enjoy Donkey Kong. However, in the next few minutes, I am off to sample some delightful Chicago pizza. However, before that, let me give a quick thank you to all my new patrons to my channel. In the last 2 days, I have launched a Facebook page and a Patreon account in order to expand my social media empire. Regarding the Patreon, I have created a video all about it, in which you can click here as an annotation. I am overwhelmed by all of your generosity from those who have become my patrons in the past few days. It has given me a warm feeling inside to know that some people are enjoying my channel so much that they want to financially contribute to the channel's growth. That is a compliment and a bloody half, so a massive thanks to bloody all of you out there. Even a $1 a month contribution is a massive help towards the channel's future. So whether you are now a patron or simply a viewer of this channel, thank you so much for your continued support. Now it's time for a little shout out to some of my high rollers amongst my patrons. So a big shout out to both Jarrett Tolzien and Mad 8 Productions. You are no longer more than just my disciples. From now on, you shall be known as my patron saints. Yeah, ta-ta and farewell.